boy, just be yourself. If people don't like you if you're being yourself, fuck them.
It's Big Los,
Hollywood Kev,
and welcome to another episode of The Noize on iHeartRadio. If you haven't, go ahead and follow us on iHeartRadio. You can also like the Beat Network page on Facebook, facebook.com/BeatNetwork1. Follow us on Twitter at Beat_Network, at Beat Network on Instagram, and of course check out BeatNetworkOnline.com for all of the blog stories and different events going on with the team. Kev, you old and decrepit bastard, how are you, sir?
Unfortunately, I am all of those things, but I'm all right.
How you holding up, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Shit, about as good as I'm gonna get at this point, I should say.
Just at the moment. I ain't want to, be the one to, start breaking out your business. I could let you could tell the people if you like. I'm pretty sure they're used to the story anyway.
Oh shit! My back fucked up. We'll say that. We'll say that. I gotta do some X-rays actually tomorrow to figure out the root cause and what exactly is going on. But outside of that, everything is everything.
My weekend has been stressfully active.
How so?
Man, just a bunch of stuff going on with the family. Don't want to divulge too much into it, but I also got my peoples in town. They had a suite and everything, so me and Jay Alonzo, we was down there pre-gaming, getting ready for the Hove show, Jay-Z, at T-Mobile Arena. That show was lit.
It was a good one then, huh?
Yes, sir. Now, it was very usual Hove. It was he was late. This was my third time seeing him, and the first time we saw him was at the Palms, and he was like an hour and some change late to that one. Then the next time I saw him was in the Nutter Center in Dayton, and he was like 45 minutes late coming on stage for that one. This one was this was new. It was like 2.5 hours because of some technical difficulties. Now I understand because this is the first leg of the tour. I think this was actually show number 2 for him.
Yeah, this is show number 2. Yeah.
Show number 2, so obviously it was going to be some technical difficulties, but goddamn, Kev, like, it was going on for so long that the opening act, Vic Mensa, came out to watch niggas fix what was going on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like, one of the people coming in was talking to security, and the dude was like, yeah, you see that guy right there in the yellow jacket and the blue jeans? Yeah, that's the opening act. So once he gets on, once he gets on stage, which I think they're actually prepping for right now, I'm sitting here like, so Vic Mensa just looks like he a part of the damn sound crew.
Wow. So it took them. How long did it take them to fix it? Like,
what's crazy? That I don't even know because we were late. We were intentionally coming late. And that's no shot at Vic Mensa, but I mean, none of us know the nigga's music. Like we don't.
It's a shout out. You could have listened to some music before on the way to the concert or something.
Nah,
you chose not to.
Exactly, because we were going with the mental mindset to see Jay. So that's where all the attention was. Now, if it was like Kanye opening up for him, then of course we'd have been there like 30 minutes early. But that's beside the point. When we got there, again they were still setting up, and we were already 40 minutes late, something like that. And the arena wasn't even packed yet because apparently this alleged text message went out that they was telling niggas like, oh yeah, by the way, it's gonna be late. So take your time. If you want to go get something to eat, pregame some more, go ahead do your thing. We didn't get that text message, so we parked in Planet Hollywood because there's only like 3 places to park on the Strip where it's free, and Planet Hollywood was the closest one. We parked at Planet Hollywood and walked over. Now, nigga, we're walking over and
wait, Planet Hollywood is not close to T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah. It's probably like a 10-minute walk max.
Planet Hollywood. Okay.
For free parking is what I'm saying.
I see it in my head. Okay.
Yeah, because we had to cut through New York, and what was that other? We had to cut through New York, basically, and it took us right there.
Okay.
So, the whole time we're walking, everybody got an attitude because we're like, bro, we're going to miss Jay's opener, and Jay's opener is always some legendary shit. Man, we walk in, I'm looking like, is there a concert today?
So basically, when people said they was going to the Jay-Z concert, they were going to see Jay-Z. They can give a fuck about everybody else.
Ultimately, yeah. And it was crazy because they wasn't letting anybody in on the floor yet because they were fixing the display for Jay's opener. So they weren't letting anybody on the floor. So we're all sitting here waiting, and people are like, I wonder when they're going to start the show, when we're going to start seeing signs of the show, getting kicked up. And I'm just looking around like, bro, there's no one on the floor yet. We still ain't filled in the floor. We got time. And I know we were sitting there. We had drinks. You know what I'm saying? We were good. And it was like, I know we're upset because we're in here good with drinks and chilling. I know the motherfuckers standing outside waiting to get inside on their floor seats. Oh, I know they out there losing their shit.
So y'all could pull up to a concert and these niggas don't even have the signage ready. What type of
bruh? It was
T-Mobile
wild.
y'all slipping? Y'all slipping.
It was
y'all
wild.
got to do better than that.
Nah, from what Jay Alonzo was telling me, I didn't even get a chance to really research it, but apparently he saw it. So if it's not real, I'm gonna put it on him. But from what Jay Alonzo was telling me, apparently he fired his original stage crew yesterday.
I see.
So I don't know if this was just some new stage crew problems or, shit wasn't clicking or just wasn't going the way it needed to. But this new stage crew, they had some work to do. They had this one cat that was like climbing the sign to get it fixed on the inside. I'm like, yo, that is dedication.
he trying to get a job with Jay.
Yeah, like he trying to work with Jay from here on out. Because he was on some.
I'm glad you had fun though. That seemed like a cool concert.
Yeah, once everything got started, bro, it was dope. And I actually saw on social media that it was trending how late it was going on for them to get on stage.
Yeah, when I got to Twitter, I was looking and it looked like the way people were reporting it is that Jay didn't show up. I was like, whoa, like that doesn't sound right. Like,
oh yeah,
that's why I was like, hold on, let me try to hit Los up to see, what this is, because that does not sound right. Jay not showing up to a concert.
Allegedly, it was some people that were working the event talking about some of the show may not go on. So that really had social media like stirring. But as a nigga that was there, the show went on, and of course it got rocked. I kind of feel bad for Vic Mensa though. I think his set was supposed to be much longer than what it was. I feel like his intro was supposed to be better than what it was. But again, he went from standing off to the side looking like a stagehand. Then the lights dropped and his boys was on stage and he just walked on stage casual than a motherfucker. I'm like, we're in T-Mobile Arena and he's walking on stage like somebody that's doing one of these local shows.
Well, that's probably because there was nobody in the crowd. He probably felt some kind of way.
And I felt bad because he went into. Cause I only know two songs.
You didn't feel bad. You couldn't have felt bad. You showed up late.
From an artist standpoint, again, that's not the perk. But from an artist standpoint, the fact that you're performing while the crowd is filtering in, we're already pissed because we've been waiting for the show to at least start for the last 2 hours. Bro, you can visibly see us not giving a fuck about his performance.
That's out of line.
Like, I only know 2 records from him, and I can't even remember the name of the damn 2 records, but one of them is the one with Kanye, like I don't know nobody, that joint. So that was the second record that he did, and no one was rocking. I'm like, come on now. I understand that niggas don't know his shit, but they at least know this record.
Oh, wow. That's out of line. Y'all cold, man.
Hey, man, I was just an attendee. That's all that is. I went.
Yeah, a late attendee.
A very late. Hey, when the fucking artist is later than me, it don't matter what time I got there.
It don't matter. That's the artist.
And I'm an attendee.
You know they particular about their shit.
But they ain't particular enough to make sure the goddamn signage work. Whatever. Anyway, Jay killed it. He didn't do 444 in its entirety. He really mixed in all his hits. It was a fantastic concert, man. If anybody out there that hasn't seen Jay live, it's an experience. You got to experience it.
That's dope.
Which is actually a good opening conversation because this entire episode is about to be about music.
Hip hop.
Which is so needed because, these last few episodes, it's just been too much conversation about important shit, don't get me wrong, but it's just been too much conversation about serious shit, man.
Yeah, you gotta have at least one episode in there where it's lighthearted and fun.
Right. We got to balance this out. We got to balance it out. First thing, before we actually get to some of the other topics, I kind of want to talk about this and get your feeling towards it. Did you see Eminem slick promotion for his for the new album?
No, I have not. The last buzz I heard about him was the BET Cypher. I knew an album was coming, but I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, apparently we're getting an album the end of November, and apparently it's called Revival. Now, his manager, I forgot his name. I was about to call him Steve Berman. That could be wrong.
Paul?
But oh well. Paul, there you go.
Hey.
Paul, is it a Paul Rosenberg?
Yep.
There you go. Paul Rosenberg. So he sent out a picture of Yellow Wolf's album, you know, saying that it's finally out. Go check it out, whatever. And there was a sign in the back. And I paid no attention to it. You know, I'm not one of the ones that look deeply into social media or like that. But the people that do, they noticed that it was a sign in the back for a medicine called Revival. You know, it looked like one of the medicine bottles that, you know, that help with impotency or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's called Revival. And they noticed that the E on Revival was backwards.
And this was on Yellow Wolf's album cover or something?
No, this was on a tweeted photo, an Instagram photo from Paul Rosenberg saying, you know, Yellow Wolf album is out. And he's holding the physical CD, but behind the CD is a poster for Revival, for the medicine Revival. So people Googled it. There's a whole website dedicated to this medicine Revival. And then there's like symptoms and side effects from taking Revival, and it's all Eminem based type stuff. And when there's a phone number that you can call, and when you call the number, they're like quoting Eminem lines, but they're using them in ways of talking about this medicine. So all the speculation is coming about that this is Eminem's album Revival, and because, you know, they said we're supposed to get one in November, so they feel like this was the official announcement. So hopefully we'll see a single soon.
I wonder now. Being that I grew up with him, so I'm an M fan. I'm interested to see what the album would sound like.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. But it sounds like they're trying to do a decent rollout for it.
Oh yeah, especially getting the fans involved, like making it a like an investigation type thing. Like I think that's dope. We fuck with M. We grew up with M. Are we necessarily excited for an M album because we know it's going to be bomb, or are we excited for an M's album because we've had some hits and misses in the most recent Eminem time?
Well, I think a little bit of both. But what the fan of M or the casual listener of M has to understand is that certain shit that you may not be used to, his delivery or the way he sounds, those gimmicks are what makes him him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think people that casually listen to him or wasn't a huge fan of him probably isn't geared up for this album. But somebody that's grown up with him, that's just listened to pretty much everything he's put out, good and bad. Somebody like me, I can be hopeful for this album to actually be a solid body of work. I hope he doesn't have a lot of features on it because there's nothing but new niggas out. So I hope he doesn't have a lot of features or anything. But I think it's going to be a solid body of work.
You not looking forward to Eminem, Lil Yachty, Crazy Boats?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. I don't. Being that M is the artist, I don't even think he get on the record with somebody like that.
Yeah, man, you gotta give him his credit. Hey, Yachty platinum. Ugly guy platinum. It's the new era. It's the turn era.
No. You know, I was thinking
the age of lit.
I was thinking about this era, and then I was thinking about how we had that era of that dance music, the stanky legs and the DJ funk and so on and so forth. Those were like a solid couple of summers, you know what I mean? Like they had a good run. I am hoping that those people that you just named and some more are in that same category where they have a good run, but they just fall off. Like, no, they're fucking the game up. And then you got artists that are actually about hip hop that that they can't seem to get ahead in the game because you got people like Lil Yachty saturating.
And they're getting the plaques.
The newer artists, like Belly, for instance, people don't really listen to, and you get artists like Lil Yachty, little whatever the fuck, Little Ugly God, all them niggas that can put out a single and it don't be talking about a damn thing and the single goes platinum. I don't think that's fair to the artists that are actually dedicated to hip hop, that actually put out hip hop albums, that are trying to make solid pieces of work opposed to just trying to turn up and be cool.
Right. No, I feel that. I'm excited for the album, man, but I am gonna be let down if correction. Let me say this, and this ain't even on no PC shit. It's just from straight artistry shit. Whether I agree with these niggas' music or not, I would understand why he would give some of them a chance. I would understand why he give some of the ones that are a little more tolerable a chance rather than giving the ones that everybody's just behind, knowing that they're garbage. Like I don't expect to hear Kyle on Eminem's album whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Exactly. He's the one that made the track with Yachty that shit.
No idea what you're talking about.
You know the record. I promise you do. Once you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh, this shit, get out of here. But I don't expect cats like that on the album. I don't expect Yachty on the album. I wouldn't be surprised if Uzi Vert was on the album. I wouldn't be surprised if 21 Savage is on the album.
I don't see either one of them being on that album.
I just wouldn't be surprised if they were, is what I'm saying.
I truly don't, only because M has his following. You know what I mean? Like this album that's gonna drop is gonna go platinum. We can already guarantee it's gonna.
Oh yeah, that's chalked up. They already get the platinum.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So we know that's gonna go platinum. So I don't think he needs a big artist for sales or anything. You know what I mean? Him putting out music is just him putting out solid pieces of artistry. So I don't see any of those newer cats like that actually on an album with him.
That'd be interesting to see. I'd be let down a little bit, not gonna lie.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had like some newer R&B cats if they're on the hook or something like that, or something of that nature. But I don't expect a verse from Uzi or 21 or anybody that's came out within the last year and a half.
Oh, you know what? I don't even think it'd be a verse though. Like if we were to see one of these new niggas, I think it'd just be a hook.
If that's the case, then they can't write the hook. They can't write the hook. I don't want them writing.
Nah, that's one of M's guidelines. You got to be a writer. You saw he tested Kendrick Lamar before he got on that horrible ass record that Kendrick ate.
But he got a verse. That's different. It's a verse. For a hook, I'm pretty sure M is like, I know I'll write this hook. You just come and do what you're gonna do because you're not about to fuck up this song.
You think he'll just do it for the sound?
Yeah. Basically, that's the only way I can see him putting one of these new guys on an album is if he's looking for a sound for a specific song. Outside of that, it's nowhere in the world I could see him like, hey, you know what? We should go get that little Uzi fella. No. Mm-mm.
If it is called Revival is coming. We'll definitely let the album speak for itself. Another big thing going on and a big conversation that's going on in hip hop right now. That's actually been a conversation for quite some time. So Nicki was talking about how she doesn't get respect in the hip hop game because she's a black female. She had a tweet that came out on the 25th. I want to say that was Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
So she tweets it out, says, in any field, women must work twice as hard to even get half the respect her male counterparts get. When does that stop? I agree. We've had that conversation on the show before. So right. With that, I definitely see that. So then she's talking about, she had the same tweet, same day. The greats collaborated with Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole because they're dope MCs. They collabed with Nicki because someone put a gun to their head. People putting people in the same sentence as me after 10 years of consistent winning. What are you teaching them? They'd never do this to a man. I think because there's another cute, light-skinned, big-titty, fat-ass rapper that's in there right now with Cardi, that now, the comparisons instantly come. The same, and then when she said they don't do that to males, it's the same thing that happened with Rick Ross when he came out. They instantly compare, is this the new Big just because it's a fat black rapper? You know what I mean? The same thing happened with Gorilla Black. They was like, is this gonna be the new big? Like, it's all of a sudden it's gotta be the new big.
That with him, they were saying that with him heavy. Hell, they even had Puff co-sign.
Nigga, you remember how long they called Kendrick this generation's Tupac? So it's like, I didn't really understand that when she said this doesn't happen with men, with people getting put in the same bubble. But as far as a female having to work twice as hard, I agree with that. I completely understand that. Where I get confused is, does she feel because Cardi B is in the conversation now that now she has to remind people of her, who she is and all this other stuff? And, you know, you think about all the accolades that she spoke about in her records, you know, like she's constantly putting herself over. And I mean, shit, the proof is in the pudding. Pink Friday did win 3 times platinum. Romans Reloaded 2 times platinum. The Pink Print 2 times platinum. I think people see her.
What I think it is, man. I think like you said, Cardi B came in. You know what I mean? And Cardi B is getting that attention currently right now. But I think Nicki's feeling this way because she's not talked about positively on social media.
Exactly.
People aren't looking forward to her verses. She's probably not getting nowhere near as many calls as she was before. So she's starting to see a dip. And to me, it sounds like she's trying to blame and point fingers on why she's not being as successful as she once was, when in actuality it's because what she's been putting out has been subpar, honestly. I mean, there was a point when Nicki first came out, man, she was on everything.
Dude, and that was going to be my exact point. I think it's because the attention is shifting. Like, when you get a new female artist, all of a sudden, they're the next Nicki. Even when Young and May came out, and she wasn't even trying to be a girl, but all of a sudden, she's the next Nicki. And I think that shit bothers her because a lot of these, and this is just an easy way for her to not say these females ain't putting in the work I put in, but yeah, y'all giving her the credit. All of a sudden now it's about sexism. Like, my main thing when it comes down to Nicki is when she first came out, and I've admitted this plenty of times before, I fuck with mixtape Nicki. I thought she went hard. And the freestyle she did over Warning, I can't relate to it whatsoever because I'm a guy, and I still fucked with it because she was spitting. You know what I mean? I still think she had the best verse on Monster. That's probably like the coldest female feature I've heard on any record. My issue with Nicki is when it comes down to the respect factor of how she's talking about it. I don't think it has anything to do with her being a black woman in the industry, because she would have been out like everybody else that doesn't get respect in the industry because of who they are. I think she saw where the money was, and that shifted her whole sound pop. So I think that's where one aspect of the respect fell. I think
that's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. She did switch up and go the pop route.
She went super pop. I mean, it's the same reason Drake isn't respected in the hip hop industry. Like, as quiet as it's kept, hip hop niggas don't respect Drake. They use Drake as like examples of what they think is wrong with the hip hop industry. So it's like, you know, when you switch your focus to pop, of course that respect's gonna leave. And then the beef with Remy did not help whatsoever.
Yeah, the beef with Remy didn't help because even though I think bar for bar Nicki is better than Remy, the beef with Remy didn't help is because Remy went into prison when people were fucking with her heavy.
Right.
And all people wanted to do was see her get out to see what she was going to do now having prison experience.
And one of the reasons they wanted her to get out to see what she do because they were tired of Nicki. Nicki was the only female rapper and she was going pop.
Right. Now, to your point about, you had made the example with Drake. The only thing I kind of disagree with you on that, or kind of align myself with Nicki, is since she's in that whole camp, and I feel maybe Drake and Wayne and people within that camp are the people she's more around. And to her, it probably looks like Drake is still getting that type of respect. At the end of the day, Drake has a cult following. People still ask Drake for verses or for hooks or whatever the case is. So she's probably aligning herself with being the female Drake and is not seeing that same success having one pop. You know what I mean? To me, it looks like Nicki tried this whole rebranding thing and lost a shit ton of fans and wants to blame it on the other person opposed to blaming it on herself.
So in a sense, you agree with me, because that's the main thing. Like, Drake went pop, but he still went you know, if I could put a color line on it, he went black pop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah. What I'm saying with the Drake comparison is I can see where she feels it's sexism in that aspect.
yeah, okay,
Because they kind of did the same things, and yet Nicki's being shunned for it. Now, granted,
that I see. That I definitely see.
Well, the content between the two is different. Like you said, Drake went more so the black pop, and if you look at it, Nicki kind of gravitated towards a late teen to early 20 white woman fan base.
I heard somebody saying this came from a female, so nobody, you know, inbox me trying to call me whatever. But I've heard people compare. I've heard people say that Nicki's demographic now is young white teens and gay men.
You know what? That's kind of spot on. I would say it's even further than young white teenage girls. I would say it's, you know, like I said, early 20s. I would even go that far, but that's a spot on assessment. And that's a very spot on assessment.
And if that's the case, then that's obviously not the hip hop community. So people are feeling that once she got into the industry, because everyone can remember, Nicki was getting praised in the beginning when she first got in. When Romans Reloaded came out, that's when the shift changed. Like, people fucked with the first album. People fucked with it. You know what I mean? And they felt like, you know, there's definitely a lot of pop in here, but it's still a lot of traditional Nicki. Again, I'm one of the people that used to praise what she did in her mixtapes. I thought she was gassing. You could look at her numbers and you could look at the moves that she made. That's something that she ended up getting through. You know, if you look at the timeline, whenever someone else comes in and there's more attention getting put on a different female rapper that's not her, all of a sudden, you know, we're championing other people for stuff that she did 5, 6, 7 years ago. I just don't think the argument came at the right time. Like, if this is how she was feeling, she should have spoke for this when she was selling out arenas. She should have spoke on this when she had multiple platinum singles. Timing just seems like Cardi's coming in and she's doing shit. I know they just did the Motorsports record with Migos, with Cardi and Nicki, and Cardi washed Nicki on that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I said, it's coming down to Nicki's content. But to Nicki saying that there's sexism now, being that I'm not in the hip hop industry, so I don't have the insider edition for it. But in a male dominated sport, it's kind of hard for it not to be sexism. You know what I mean? You're putting out music, and the majority of the listener is a black male. You know what I mean? To be honest, they're not going to be able to relate with some of the stuff you're saying. Right. For instance, that Bodak Yellow, a lot of the stuff she's in there saying, I'm not going to relate to because I'm a guy.
Right.
But that song is hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can put yourself in a female's mindset to see how a female would feel saying this, like she gassed that. And quite honestly, Nicki should be a little bit flattered because Cardi took Nicki's blueprint. She just hasn't. I don't see Cardi doing it, but she just hasn't went the pop route just yet.
Right. Yeah, I don't see Cardi going that way. I think she's way too street for that. No, I totally agree, and that's why I'm like, you know, obviously sexism does exist. I said that in the beginning of this conversation. I'm gonna keep saying it again. Sexism definitely exists, especially in a male-dominated industry. It's Nicki's content that she's putting out that, you know, lessen the respect that she gets in the industry. If we're talking about respect general, if we're not talking about sales, if we're not talking about commercial success, we're talking about point blank period respect. There are female artists out here getting respect when they actually spit. And yes, hip hop listeners is predominantly black men. And it's the relatability that sways men away from female records, because we can't relate to a lot of men, some men can't relate to sucking dick, and some men can't relate to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But you look at artists like Young M.A. was big for months, and none of us can relate to strapping on a dildo. None of us can, you know what I'm saying? None of us can relate to a lesbian relationship, but you can't deny skills. When she put out that freestyle over the Money, Power, Respect beat, bruh, everything she was spitting was on some lesbian shit. And I thought that was one of the hardest female records I've ever heard. You know what I mean? So it's like, relatability it can definitely be overshadowed by pure talent, and I think that's what a lot of people don't take into consideration, because circling back to Nicki's Monster verse, that's probably the best feature I've ever. That's the best verse, hands down, I've heard from a female from any generation. I'll go on record and say that. You know what I mean? And the respect was there, and I know she was talking about she had to fight Kanye to get that on there. I didn't really understand the story too much, but once it got on there, nigga, it's like this is great. You watched established rappers. You had a better verse than Jay, and the only other person that could say that is M.
Right. Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. Everything that you just said, I agree with. She has to get back into kind of the mindset that she was getting back into the industry.
She got to get hungry again.
I was just about to get there. Sometimes I see with these artists that's been in the game so long that they stop being hungry. You know what I mean? And all it takes is for a Cardi to come around and give you a cold ass song, and now you look like, the odd man out. Think about it. Nicki was, to be honest, she was the only female really spitting in a pool full of dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
for a long time.
Right. She was getting her respect. She was getting her feature. She was getting her bread. And then she just stopped. She disappeared for a little bit. She started the lovey-dovey shit with me. And in the midst of that, she was pop. So, of course, the casual hip-hop fan is not going to respect you in that sense. They're not listening for pop. They're listening for hip-hop.
Right.
And Cardi gave that. So that's why they're going to, kind of flock to her a little bit. I think Nicki just got to get back to having flawless pin game, and she'll be all right. She can use this whole experience to kind of propel her to the next steps. But sitting there bitching about it ain't gonna get nothing done.
She should have saw that in this industry, yes, as a woman you are gonna have to work twice as hard. It sucks, but it's the unfortunate reality. But she should have seen from Cardi's success, like, obviously there's still an avenue for female spitters. I don't have to just hop on a record and sound like I'm out here fucking 30 niggas. I don't have to just hop on a record and appease my white counterparts. I can go on here and bar some shit down, and I can have the #1 record in the fucking country. Cardi B made history with that shit. And if hip hop is a male dominated sport, and not saying I'm not saying that all responsibility goes to the men, but if hip hop is a male dominated sports, that's a lot of men pushing this woman to the top of the charts and making history. Lauryn Hill was the first, but Lauryn Hill was also a tweener. She was a R&B artist and a hip hop artist. Cardi B is the first 100% hip hop artist, female hip hop artist to get #1.
Yeah.
In a male dominated sport.
And it's crazy because I listen to Cardi B before I listen to any of these new niggas.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, I'm starting to become a fan because that verse on Motorsports, that shit was nasty.
I haven't heard that track yet, but I listened to her before the Uzis and little pistol starters and all of them. I listened to Cardi before all of it.
Man, and I just think, just to kind of wrap this conversation up and give you your final thoughts as well. I think it's the content, bro. I think it's what she's been putting out. I think it's how she's been going about it. Like, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. Like, you look at, whenever there was a female that was getting a lot of conversation in hip hop, Nicki had something to say. Nigga, she came at Miley, she came at Remy. It was one other person. Now you see this shit. Now she's not coming at Cardi, but now that Cardi's here, now she's back to reestablishing who she is. She's back to trying to remind people, y'all, I'm Nicki Minaj, and like even on the when you listen to Motorsports, you'll hear like she there's conversation saying that she was coming at Cardi on Motorsports. I didn't see it, but you could definitely hear in the verse that she's constantly reminding people, I am Nicki Minaj, which is great. But your content doesn't show it.
Right. I think with a combination of her content and her public perception, that's getting her placed where she is now. And the only reason I say public perception is because if you look at some of the other artists, if you look at a Meek Mill or Drake or Kanye even, if you look at what they were doing in the public, that tainted certain people on how they felt about it. People Drake be doing weird shit, getting tattoos of weird shit, or being extra so that taints him when the person is going to listen to his music. They're seeing this public perception, and they're seeing that it doesn't match up. The same thing with me, you know what I mean? Even like I said, even with Kanye. So I think a combination of her content, especially, but how she's presenting herself or how she's going about things in the public is also what's contributing to her being in the position she's in now.
Well, it's gonna be interesting to see going forward, especially with Cardi B, obviously not having her feet on the brakes.
Yeah. I mean, shit. If they can keep either one of them keep putting out solid music, shit, we gonna listen. Simple and plain. Put out good shit for somebody. Well, I can't even say put out good shit for somebody to listen to, because you got people that put out songs about broccoli and put out songs about they want to be dead and all this other shit. So I can't even say that.
You're not letting that go.
No. Like once beat takes off to where we're starting to be kind of intertwined with the hip hop game, I already know niggas gonna try to fight me and they're gonna be upset.
You out here trying to give cats the blues?
They gonna be upset if they try to. I wish what's that boy name? I wish Lil Boat would try to fight me. Boy, he gonna be upset.
I don't know. He strikes me as somebody that kind of just gets the crew together to make a statement by jumping cats.
Nah, first of all, that wouldn't happen. It happened once, never again. Second of all, they will be upset.
Like, then that becomes a collective upset. This one's a little weird. XXXtentacion, he signed a $6 million contract with Capitol Records. And as a dude that basically prided himself in being an independent artist, a dude that, would tell people don't sign with majors, keep it indie, this was unexpected from him because of, him being so outspoken and him having content that people that I can understand labels are nervous to get behind.
Man, when that bag gets to calling and you broke, niggas' perception changes.
That perception changed so quick. So he signs a $6 million contract, and then he basically backs out of it. He says that his contract is voided, which I don't know how you can do that, especially for $6 million. They ain't about to just be like, no, that ain't voided. It's just on pause for right now, if anything. But $6 million, he said that he's no longer signed to Capitol, and he's not going to put music out for a while. He's tired of this shit. I can't remember if that was the exact words, but still. With this situation, and just XXX in general, this dude is just entirely too emotional. I can understand not signing with majors, but he allegedly formatted his own contract. So how are you upset with a contract that you made?
Well, me personally, I think he was lying. I've never heard of a record company or anybody for that matter offering somebody that kind of money, and it's considered to be a done deal because it was reported that he signed with them, and then all of a sudden it's off the table. The only way I can see it being off the table and both ways end up with somebody getting sued is if the record label does something to where the deal is voided, or if he does something to where the deal is voided. And either way, either party can be sued. So this one is a little bit different for me. I'm not really understanding how a contract can be just voided.
My first thought is that the label got cold feet because of his domestic violence suit that's going on. But I don't see how that could be the case when y'all still offered this man this money while this situation was going on. The situation ain't new. It's been happening for a while. So I like I said, that's how I initially felt. Now I'm thinking that this is just him on an emotional rampage, just being for real. He doesn't strike me as somebody that, will make a logical decision because he's too in tune with his emotions. He's too in tune with his own depression. And that's another thing too. Something is obviously mentally wrong with this dude. Like when you read about his battery charge, like my man, strangulation is one of the charges of his pregnant girl at the time.
Yeah, that's rage. That's rage. That's a little disturbing. But to go back towards this record label debacle, I would not be surprised if I don't know how it was originally reported. I don't know if he reported it or tweeted it or however it went. But I would not be surprised if he put that out in the air and it wasn't a done deal and Capital backed out of the deal and he's trying to flip it like he backed out of the deal, so he seems like the good guy in the sense. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised if he tried to get a deal together and Capital was like, no, we're not rocking with that. And now he's like, oh, I backed out of the deal with them and, you know, I'm not putting out music because it's just weird. To me personally, if I'm an independent artist and I got a deal come in or I'm working on a deal and the deal falls through, the first thing I'm going to do is put out music.
I'm going to flood the streets.
Exactly. That's what I'm. So for you to disappear for a while, I mean, granted, that could go towards any type of mental distress, but it's just a little odd to me. That kid is odd to me.
He's a different dude, man. But that's just what the industry is right now. Like right now, we're getting a bunch of emo, I need a hug cats, and that's really what's getting XXX, you know, across to his fans. Like he's very transparent with his feelings. I get that, but people need to pay attention to the fact that his feelings aren't necessarily the safest things. Like he's low key creating followers that, you know, that take after this, you know, it's okay to rage. It's okay to be angry attitude. You know what I mean? Like him getting signed, I think was based purely off of conversation. I don't think it had anything to do with his content. I think it was purely because everyone's talking about this dude from when he had the issue with Drake to.
I was just getting there. It's crazy how this guy blew up over that issue with Drake. Like, if you really think about it, he blew up over that. Nobody was really checking for his music. The song that he allegedly said Drake took didn't even get popping until after it was wildly reported that Drake supposedly took this song. It's just that's crazy to me that he blew up over someone else's success with what sounds like or what could be interpreted as his piece of work.
Yeah, he shot to the moon after that.
Right, but I agree with you, man. This kid, he needs some help. He needs some help because he's definitely got some demons and is showing out. And one thing about that I've realized within the hip hop industry is that you can't be soft in that industry. That industry is a very cutthroat industry, and to be honest, the majority of the people in that industry are out for self. So you can't come into that being soft. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking this kid might be too soft to be in that industry. He might need to stay an independent artist.
Plus, man, if you're making bread off of being an independent artist, I don't see the reason of signing a $6 million contract, $6 million, and being, you know, and you look at what he's already been doing. He
signed for $6 million because he wasn't making no bread. When his lights get cut off and he's sitting there talking about being independent, and somebody offering him $6 million, man, that check look a little good when you sitting in the dark.
I can understand that, but ever since that Drake shit popped off, he's been selling out his shows. They may not be the biggest venue.
He putting money in his pocket, but you have to realize, man, a lot of those independent cats, unless they got a good grasp on the industry or how things work, they're definitely getting taken for a ride. And I wouldn't be surprised if this dude was being taken for a ride and not really seeing money that he should be as an independent artist. So definitely he probably thinking he should flirt with the idea of signing the deal because he's not seeing that money without that deal. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised at that.
I think Capital putting a driving force behind XXX would have taken his career to a different level because for some reason people find him relatable. People think because he's so transparent with his feelings and he's so transparent with his life that, you know, oh, this is something I can get behind. This is something I can rally behind and champion and move him up in the hip hop industry. I think Capital would have made him a much bigger star than what he is right now. But outside of that, his independent buzz was already crazy, you know, just off a conversation. Like people was tuning in to XXX just to see what he does next. So it's not like he didn't have the following.
Who else is signed to Capital?
Currently, shit, I couldn't even tell you.
So do you really think Capital could propel his career more than he can if we can't even figure out an artist? Because I haven't heard anybody big or anybody putting out music right now that signed to Capital. So can we really say that Capital is going to be the driving force, or could have been the driving force behind his career?
We're seeing that people that create conversation and may have enough talent, they're seeing dollar signs in that because they know people are tuning in just to see what this person would have done next. Now, if he blew the fuck up on Capital, he definitely could have made some rounds. But with him being who he is, they would have just raked in whatever they could off that first album, and he would have been off the label quickly. Or they would have put him on the shelf, and he wouldn't have been able to put out shit. So I don't see him. I didn't see him having a long, thriving career with Capital. I just saw him going to a better place, at least dealing with Capital. And if he really did, outline his entire contract again, which is something that I've never heard of, so I doubt he's going to be the first one to break those barriers. If he really did outline his whole contract, what was the issue? If they was giving you creative freedom to be all sad and shit, what was the issue?
Right. I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe his emotions got the best of him, man. He could have made it. He could have made it if he did indeed void this contract or whatever the fuck. He could have made an impulsive decision. Maybe he woke up feeling bad and had an impulsive decision and ended that relationship. But one thing I have noticed is you don't want to burn too many bridges with record labels.
No, not at all.
Or not. I think he just needs to stick to the music. That's my recipe for everything. Some shit going wrong, stick to the music.
And you know what's so crazy is that it's a lot of artists out here that just don't follow that recipe. They're just
it truly is. They feel like they got to combat, they got to fight the media, they got to get on Instagram and say this. No, man, just stick to the music. That's why you're here. Stick to the music and let the music speak for you. Because at the end of the day, nobody can deny talent. Nobody can deny a good song. I don't care what genre of music is. If you're listening, let's say you listen to the radio and it's a song that comes on and it's alternative, but it's cool, it's nice. You know what I mean? You can't help what sounds good to your ear. And you can't deny that. So I think artists just need to stick to the music.
Last thing I want to talk about, and this is an interesting subject, and I would love to get your opinion on it. Justin Timberlake is gonna be going back to the Super Bowl, and this is after, of course, we found out that Jay denied. I'm pretty sure it was other artists that denied as well. So when I heard that Justin was going to be performing at the Super Bowl, the first thing I thought was, this is bullshit because of what happened with Janet. And then I started looking into it more. Apparently, now you remember when Janet got banned from the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I remember.
You also remember, I want to say it was like the following week or sometime, later on, Janet was banned from the Grammys because of the event from the Super Bowl, correct?
Yep, I remember that as well.
All of a sudden, Janet's ban was lifted, and apparently there was never a ban in existence for Janet performing at the Super Bowl.
So wait, it was reported that she was banned. I can't even remember if it was an official NFL report, but it was reported that she was banned, but in actuality, she wasn't.
From what they're saying, yes. From what they're saying, that there was never a ban in effect, but we all knew there was a goddamn ban, and when we saw how they did her, came Grammys time. So I'm looking at all that, and I'm like, okay, now I see what the NFL is doing. They're going to bring Justin out, and I can bet all of my bread that Justin's going to bring out Janet. And this is going to be their way to try to cater to, look, it's all about unity. Look at what we're doing. If we can get past our differences, you can do the same. End of the day, I think it's still bullshit. I think it's a cheap PR ploy for them, just trying to get people back on board.
Now, I do see that it being a PR ploy. I do see that. However, I don't see Justin bringing out Janet. I don't see that. And the only reason I don't see that is because even if he invited her, I highly doubt Janet's going to accept to perform at the Super Bowl. However, and it's funny that the NFL was brought into this conversation because I was actually talking about this yesterday, is the NFL is a dying business. Not necessarily a sport of football. Sport of football is going to be around. People love that sport. But the NFL is essentially becoming a dying business, and it's because of their practices. You know what I mean? From what they're doing to Kaepernick, what they've done to other players, to stuff like this. Like, you can't have it be reported. When was that Super Bowl? How many years ago was that? Was that 2000 what?
Ooh, I can't even tell you, fam.
That was some years ago. That was some years ago. But you can't have something that's widely reported that she is banned. And mind you, this is pre-social media, so
Right.
we were hearing and we're reading she is banned, and then all of a sudden she not, or she never was. I know for a fact she was definitely banned from the Grammys.
Oh,
They
yeah, of
definitely
course.
was not trying to fuck with her, which I thought was for her to be banned. Period. For any of them to be banned. Period. I thought was bullshit. Because at the end of the day, we know she was not trying to get on there and publicly show her titty to millions of people. Period.
And even looking at that, Justin's the one that pulled it off.
yeah, he's the one that pulled it off. But to his defense, doing that particular action was part of their routine. They just didn't expect it to be a whole titty looking back at you.
Oh, I wasn't saying in the sense of, oh, this is Justin's fault. I was saying this in the sense of people say that the blame was 50-50. People were saying, they're both wrong for it. But Justin was at the Grammys, got his award, and he was offered to perform before Janet was offered to perform. You know what I mean? So it's like, I look at the situation and I can understand Justin Timberlake taking it because he believes that this is going to be something that's going to bring unity. He believes this is going to be something that is going to be good, not only for music, but for, all the conversation that's been going on dealing with the Super Bowl. Like, I understand his reasons for doing all of this. And also understand that the bag is phenomenal.
Yeah, they had to offer some bread for that one.
I just think it's bullshit because this isn't to bring great music. This is, they're not reaching out to him to, the possible chance of unity. They're reaching out to him for the same reason they reached out to Jay-Z. They're reaching out to people. Like, first they went with somebody.
They're reaching out to save face.
Exactly. Janet gonna come out.
No, I don't.
And if Janet don't come out, we're gonna find out that they tried to get her.
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to get her, but the type of bag I feel they would have to offer Janet to come back is,
you think they ain't got it?
Way more. I think they got it, but I think it's way more than anybody would want to give up for Janet. You know what I mean? It's not like Janet has the biggest buzz. When she was on at the time, Janet was I think she had just put out an album, so she was buzzing. You know what I mean?
My guy,
I don't think
Janet is on tour right now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying she does not currently have the same buzz as she did during that whole performance, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So with that and with everything that happened, the amount of money they'd probably have to offer her to even accept it would be crazy. And in addition, like, she doesn't have any major content. It's kind of funny to me that they got Justin Timberlake because outside of that one song that came out last year or the year before, and I don't know
which was for a cartoon.
Yeah, I don't know what music he has to put out there. I mean, he's going to perform a lot of old tracks, I'm assuming.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it matters that Janet ain't got nothing going. They just needed a big enough star.
Well, I think if you're going to have two artists that doesn't have nothing going on, you're going to choose the black female or you're going to choose the white male?
Well, as being Los, I'm going to choose the black female.
Being Los, but I'm talking about if you look at it through the eyes of an NFL executive, you gonna choose that white male.
Oh yeah, of course. As how they're doing, definitely.
I think that has something to do with that whole thing. But it'd be interesting to see what does happen. I do got a hot take for you. I will say that I believe this year's Super Bowl is going to be a record low in ratings.
For a Super Bowl, definitely. I could see that. I see that for sure. It's going to be a record low.
I think for Justin's sake, I hope he got that bad. But like I said, man, I think the NFL is becoming a dying business. I don't know what happens for professional football players to keep making money playing football, but just the way the NFL is doing things, man, it's not right.
Not at all. I just want to know who is going to be that one to try to go up against, because you seeing a lot of these hip hop cats. I think even Master P was talking about, fuck the NFL, let's start our own or whatever. I'm sorry, like, even though I do see the NFL, I wouldn't say I see it as a dying business, but I see the credibility of the NFL definitely being shoddy, if not non-existent at this point. But
I think the NFL is gonna be shit until Goodell get out of there. And the problem with that is Goodell said he ain't leaving. He got too much. He making too much bread.
oh yeah, that bag is too good for him to respect any black person that has a problem with what he's doing.
Right, but the NFL gonna be shit until he get out of there. Honestly.
No, now that I do agree with. The NFL is definitely going to be shit until he get up out of there. But as far as the love for the greatest American sport, quote unquote, as far as the money, like they're good. Till the attendance numbers go down, I don't know. I don't think enough people are interested in seeing change. I think they're just still interested in seeing football.
That's hey, you said it. That's a. No, I like that. That's you right.
I think I said I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
So how do you feel about Justin doing the Super Bowl? I feel like I was just going off for a while.
I don't mind it, honestly. I mean, shit, I can't say if I was an artist and they offered me a large sum that I wouldn't take it. I don't mind it. And being that we've essentially grew up with Justin Timberlake, we kind of see what kind of person he is. That it would be just like what you said. He's trying to go in there and do something positive, bring some kind of unity. You know what I mean? So I don't have no problem with him doing it. I just don't see what new music he has to offer for an event like the Super Bowl, unless he's using this to start his album rollout. I would not be surprised if Justin Timberlake has an album that's dropping first quarter of next year.
I can understand, your point of as an artist, who's going to really turn down that bag, but you look at Jay-Z turning down the bag because it's Jay-Z.
That don't count. That does not count. Jay-Z and his wife are worth $1 billion. That does not count.
Now, granted, I don't think Justin's worth $1 billion. I don't think he's necessarily close to that whatsoever. But you don't think Justin's well off to the point that he doesn't need that Super Bowl bag?
I think he's well off to where he doesn't need the bag. But the bag is welcome. Jay is in the position
but the bag is welcome.
I think Justin basically could be like, yeah, he don't need it, but maybe in a year or so he probably be like, damn, I should have took that money. But Jay, on the other hand, be like, man, I don't need that money. I'm gonna triple that in 6 months. You know what I mean? I think it's just a different dynamic for the two. And at the end of the day, Jay's black. You know what I mean? He sees what's going on. He rocks with Kaepernick heavy, so. It's understandable that him turning down that.
And you say you don't see them bringing out Janet.
No, I definitely don't see that happening. I don't see that happening because I don't think that they would gave her enough money. I don't think even if they did give her enough money, I think I'm pretty sure she's aware of what's going on within the NFL to be like, yeah, I'm not rocking with that. And even if they did, and now this is all speculation that they did offer her, I truly don't think that they reached out to her. I don't think that they reached out to her. I think they reached out to Jay, Justin. I think they reached out to them, obviously, but I definitely don't think they reached out to Janet.
So do you think they just lifted the ban because they knew what was going to come when people heard that Justin was the performer?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but did they really, I mean, I can't remember back then, but did they really say Justin was banned, or were they saying that he may be banned too?
I don't think Justin was ever banned.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Justin was ever banned. So,
but the argument that exists currently is Justin is quote unquote 50% responsible for what happened, but he got, and these are Justin Timberlake's words, he got maybe 10% of the blame.
And those could be his words to him trying to take the high road on it. Because to me honestly, I don't think either one of them was in the wrong. Nobody could have predicted there would have been a wardrobe malfunction.
Right.
Now, mind you, these routines with the Super Bowl, any routine that you see on TV is rehearsed. It's not them just going out there knocking it out in one take. So this was rehearsed probably a few times before the actual Super Bowl, and no issues were going on. I'm pretty sure the Super Bowl people were aware that he was going to, take off her top, but it wasn't supposed to be a titty show. I'm pretty sure they were aware
how that conversation went. Can I show Janet Jackson's titty? Well, Justin, as much as I want to see it, no.
Right. I'm pretty sure they were aware of her routine. So I think Justin was taking the high road with that one because me personally, I don't feel either one of them is at fault for this. Because even her reaction, I remember her reaction clear as day. It happened. She looked down and immediately covered up. And Justin was looking down like, oh, shit, I'm looking at Janet's titty. So,
hey, you know what's funny? I had a conversation with a homie back around that time, our homie John. He was actually on Back to the Classics. I was like, I applaud Justin's chill because you look at Janet through the career around that time, and I was like, that's one of the celebrity titties I wouldn't mind seeing. And right. When it happened, if had I been Justin up there, it'd be like, better have it naked by the end of this. Oh my God, it's Janet Jackson's titty. Janet Jackson's titty is right here. It's in my face. Like
it's right next. I can touch it.
Like as the sponsorship information was going, you would just hear me faintly in the back. Can you guys believe this? It's Janet Tick. Fuck Toyota. Look at the titty.
And you know, another reason why I know that whole thing was rehearsed and the NFL was prepared for that particular routine is because after it happened, they didn't immediately, so mind you, the song was over. They didn't immediately cut to commercial. They didn't do anything. Everybody was sitting there in shock like, oh shit, Janet Titty is out and millions of people are seeing this.
Janet's titty immediately became one person. Like it wasn't even Janet Jackson.
Right. Now, what I will say that was fucked up is the scrutiny that she faced behind that. You know what I mean?
Much so.
That's got to be embarrassing. Millions of people seeing your titty.
Right, you're technically the victim in this situation.
To be honest, yeah. You know what I mean? So for them to even put up a fake ban, whatever the fuck it is, for them to even entertain that thought was tasteless. But again, to go back to what I was saying, I don't think either one of them is at fault.
I don't think so either. I would have liked to have like struck a deal and been like, I'd do it if Janet could do it with me or whatever the case is. I would like for that to be the case. But,
that would have been dope. And you know what? If I was Justin, I even would have pushed one issue. I would have been like, I'm going to have Janet come out and we're going to perform that fucking song.
We're going to redo it.
I wouldn't have added the titty part in there, but I would be like, yeah, we're performing that song. So
you know what, though?
People heard it, they would have been like,
that would be, if he was to do it like that, that would have been a dope little, like a little prank or whatever, like just like kind of just teasing the situation, even though there were serious implications with it, just to kind of tease the situation to kind of, show that everything is done in good spirits at this point. But I don't think the NFL is that smart.
No, I agree with you on that. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I don't know who's gonna be. I haven't even really been keeping up with the NFL, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see what their ratings do. Like I'm interested to see how they do.
Hopefully, it's still taking a dip. Like they're trying to make different reasons as to why the ratings are still declining. But I mean, again, we all know why it is. Like we know what's going on. But I mean, whatever excuse they want to use to explain why the ratings are taking a dip, they can go ahead and use it. But as long as we know the real reason, as long as we know that our voices are being recognized by the ratings being so trash, man, it's a good go. It's a good go right now.
Yeah, I agree with you with that one.
Per our usual, Kev, let the people know where they can find you.
_ Hollywood Kev on Twitter. And _ Hollywood Kev on Instagram. Don't forget to get y'all merch. Sure, Los will tell y'all.
Yeah, per my usual spiel. At Big Los UTC on Twitter. You can follow me on Snapchat as well, Big Los. Instagram, which I really haven't been fucking with, but I guess I should. At Big Los IG on Instagram, Facebook. Follow me, don't add me. Of course, you can follow us on iHeart. Follow us on Instagram at Beat Network, Twitter at Beat _ Network. Like the Facebook page Facebook.com/Beat Network 1. Check out the website, beatnetworkonline.com. Also check out beatnetworkonline.com/merch. It's the same website, but if you want to just go straight to it, you could do that and go check out some of the official, authentic Beat Network apparel that is available to you and yours. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. And as always, it's Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
It's the Noize.